you visualize and you feel and you believe and you speak and you can become. And I was like, holy shit, what on earth have I been doing? Why have I never found this before? Why didn't they teach us this in school?
Howdy team, welcome to the next episode of the Pro Podcast. Today we're joined by a previous Apprentice winner from back in 2015, Forbes 30 under 30, and he built a huge business underneath the mentorship of Alan Sugar and has now gone on to coach and mentor his industry, as you'll see if you're watching on the video, in the Trade Mastermind, Mr. Joseph Valente.
Hi Gary, good morning, and hi to everybody listening.
How you doing, my man? You okay?
Yeah, I'm very well, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, very good indeed. And the reason why
I'm
I went
always
a bit
smiling when the sun's out.
Yeah, it makes life a little bit easier, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
Yeah. I felt like I needed to go a little bit of boxing promoter intro because of watching your Instagram stories and seeing you punching that bag outside on your terrace.
Well, I in lockdown, I got really kind of obsessed with boxing training, and I bought one of those kind of swing around. They're called swing arm boxing standalone bags, and then it had the bag on the top, and then I bought a 3-piece boxing set outside. So it really just helped me kind of stay fit and stay focused in my apartment when we couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, nice. So today, guys and girls, we are going to be talking about everything relating to business, growth, development, marketing. You know, I've followed JV really since his apprenticeship winning status, and we'll talk hopefully a little bit about that. But equally, you're coaching and mentoring your industry now. So the thing that I love and why it's so relevant to everybody listening is you're mostly coaching now. Is it electricians, trades, gas, electric? And that's a service.
Yeah, basically anybody in the construction sector. Okay. And one of the main reasons for that was because when I exited my plumbing and heating company, I realized that tradespeople run trades businesses. They're not business people running trades businesses. And so they spend a lot of time, many years training and getting qualified at being a fantastic engineer or skilled worker or tradesperson, that it put very little time into training and development to building a successful company, or actually taking the time to understand what it takes to run a business. And so it's been an incredible journey, and we've tapped into this market. We pioneered this market. No one's done it. We've kind of taken the training model from other sectors and replicated that in construction. And it's been a phenomenal success, Gary.
Yeah, and well done, mate. It's, I've seen the journey and I've seen the events you've put on, and exactly what you say there was my issue for 10 years almost. I was a bloody good mortgage advisor. I could make loads of money, but for 10 years I worked hard instead of working smart. And many mortgage brokers, exactly as you said there, many financial advisors, many insurance advisors will be fantastically skilled at being a technician, but absolutely horrendous at being a business owner. So before we dive in,
there not really being any awareness around the fact that, to start a business, how easy is it to start a business? Go on company's house, pay like 20 quid, register a limited company, and then you are off out the gates. Now, I love that from an entrepreneurial, start now, get perfect later vibe. But actually, people cause themselves a hell of a lot of pain by starting a company without understanding the finances, without understanding lead generation, without understanding sales, hiring, infrastructure, systems, processes. And because we're fantastic at the job, we believe that we'll be fantastic at running the business. But, as you and I and everybody listening will have probably experienced, being fantastic at the job is completely different to being a good business person. And I think there needs to be a lot more awareness around the fact that you shouldn't go into this thing, not respecting how much you need to actually know and do.
Without a shadow of a doubt, yeah, I can completely agree with that, and I'm sure the guys know that I've said this many a time on the podcast. But before we get into kind of some of the tactical stuff and maybe some of the advice and more inspiration from you, take us back to perhaps when you weren't a business person, and what was the change and the transition that moved you from being a technician into being the business person?
Yeah, so I was expelled from school when I was 15 years of age. So my path really in education wasn't that straightforward. And at that point, did I know I was going to be a business person? Did I know I was going to become an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur, maybe yes. A successful business owner, maybe no. And I went to train with a plumbing and heating business when I was 15. I didn't go to school in year 11. I went to work, and I went to work that whole year for free to become a very good tradesperson. I thought, if I can get ahead of the other kids going to college at 16 to become a plumber, I'm going to stand myself in good stead. And so I went and trained for a few years, became a qualified plumber at 18, became a qualified gas engineer at 19. And at 19 years of age, I was making £40,000 a year as a qualified gas engineer, only 3 years previous being expelled from school. But at 22, I'd been in the industry for about 7 years. And at 21, I'd gone to Australia. I'd gone traveling. I'd got that out of the way. And I came home with this hunger to want to create my legacy, to build my empire. I always had visions of leaving a mark when I was gone. And so it kind of started for me when at 22 years of age, the Christmas period of 2011, when my mum got me Lord Sugar's Autobiography for Christmas. Really thick book. It was about that thick. What you see is what you get. Somewhere in my office here. And I didn't really read books. I wasn't into training, wasn't into personal development, wasn't in that world at 22. And I love The Apprentice. I always used to tell people if I went on there, I'd win that show. And it was kind of always a law of attraction thing for me. So I read this book cover to cover for 2 weeks over that Christmas period of 2011. And it changed me. It changed my DNA is only how I can describe it. I was shown a way that a guy like me coming from nothing, not having the greatest background, not having the greatest start, could actually build billionaire wealth. Because for me, being a billionaire is something that I actually want to do. I aspire to do it because I love the fact that being a billionaire would allow me to help 1 billion people. It would allow me to create a legacy. I'm not so bothered about the money, but just the achievement to show my potential. So I saw that Lord Sugar came from a council estate in London. Didn't have that silver spoon, wasn't given money. His family name didn't get him anywhere. And so he built it all himself. So I said, wow, if he can do this, so can I. I've been putting success on a pedestal my whole life, thinking that I'm not where I want to be because I'm not good. I'm not in the class, or, I'm not privileged enough to be given that leg up. So it kind of opened up my eyes. And so literally on December the 31st, 2011, I decided I was going to be a business person. I messaged my boss. Well, I called him because I had a good relationship with him. I called him. I said, listen, Mark, I'm out. I'm starting my own company. Yeah. And like people always say to you, what do you know about running a business? My mum was like, you're crazy. Why would you leave a 50 grand a year job? Because my mum didn't come from money. She worked really low paying jobs when we were kids growing up. We really struggled financially. So £50,000 for her was a hell of a lot of money as a salary. And for me, it was a great income, but it was also peanuts in what could be achieved. So I literally, Gary, went on Tesco's online, and I took out a personal loan, home improvement loan. I got £15,000 approved from Tesco's, and within 48 hours, the money was in my bank. I used my salary to get that loan, and then I used that money to fund my business. So then quit my job straight after. Then I had 15 grand. Now, again, I don't know why I picked 15 grand. I didn't think this thing through. I just took the money, started, and I was like, I'm starting the company. Went on company's house, registered Impragas, and Impra is short for Impravio, which is a mixture of entrepreneur and improvise in Latin. So had a great DNA running through the company. And and when I was reading that book, I had these visions of my vans going up and down the motorways, building this British Gas replica. Because in Lord Sugar's book, he talks about IBM and that their brand was, known as the black suits, black ties, white shirts, real corporate. And so I kind of wanted to see my image of a national business. That's what I set out to achieve. And I spent £1,500 on a van. I spent £700 on a website. I spent £1,000 on tools. I spent £500 on a suit. And literally the next day, Impragas was born. And so my business journey and all the fun that came with it literally started from that day.
Yeah, amazing. And you mentioned something there as well, which was like the visualization side of things. Where did you pick that up from? Was that part of Alan Sugar's book, or is that just something you'd seen elsewhere?
Well, that's a great question. And I didn't know what the law of attraction was until I was 24. And I used to get these visions all the time. I live a lot of time in my head, and I see things before they happen. Yeah. And really my future more than anything. Not that I can predict the future in other aspects, but in my world, I always have these visions of better or greater or more. And so I used to kind of put myself in a place where I wanted to be. And then 2 years later, when I was 24, my business partner at the time in a property company that I had, funnily enough, I had a rent-to-rent business back when I was 24. I kept saying to him, Chris, listen, I keep thinking of all these things and they keep coming true. Yeah, for the last few years, they keep coming true. And it was funny because I just bought an M3 convertible at the time. And I'd wanted this M3 convertible and I had it written on my whiteboard that was on my wall in the bedroom. And loads of other stuff at the time was coming true for me. And he was like, that sounds like the law of attraction. I was like, what's the law of attraction? He goes, when you see things and they come true because you focus on them, you visualize them and you work towards them. And he was like, YouTube it. My God. I YouTube law of attraction, and it was like I'd stumbled upon literally the secret that nobody had ever told me. And I was like watching these videos, Jim Carrey, Will Smith, Oprah Winfrey, all talking about the law of attraction, saying that you visualize and you feel and you believe and you speak and you can become. And I was like, holy shit, what on earth have I been doing? Why have I never found this before? Why didn't they teach us this in school? So then it basically put a real life process behind what I was actually doing. And then from that moment, I became obsessed with the law of attraction. I still am. I practice it religiously, day in, day out. And I believe that law of attraction was a big reason for me winning the Apprentice, and we can talk about that a little bit later on. So that was kind of my first experience with the law of attraction, and now it still is very prominent in my life right now.
Yeah, I love that. And have you read The Secret?
Read The Secret? No, I haven't read it. I've watched it.
Watched it on Netflix. Mate,
I watched
it
about 50 times now, I think.
I make it a ritual that I listen to the audiobook at least once a year. But I started to put the Netflix documentary on. I would turn it off after about 10 minutes. I couldn't do it.
Why?
I just didn't enjoy it. But the book is awesome for anyone who hasn't.
Is the audiobook the same audio as the documentary or not?
I don't think so.
No, okay.
I
might have to do the audio bit then, because I've never actually done the book. I've only ever done the Bob Proctor and the what's that other guy on there? There's a few guys on there, right? I've only ever John Asharath, I think, is on there. I've only ever watched that. So if the book's got more to it, I'll probably need to listen to it.
Yeah, 100%, mate. It's broken down. You've got all the little snippets from all the individuals. But for anyone listening, just Google The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, Law of Attraction, bringing things into your life. And, there's the whole part of your brain, which is called the reticular activating system. I always reference it to before I had my first child. I never saw kids anywhere. Then when my wife became pregnant, all of a sudden there's women pushing pushchairs and dads picking kids up from school. I'm like, where have these people suddenly come from? It's like, it brings that focus to the attention of what you want to be moving to the direction of.
Just very quickly, there's one thing I want to say on this. So as soon as I stumbled on that law of attraction, I remember I went to like the closest people around me at the time. And I said, listen to what I found. Look what I found. Yeah, there's all these successful people saying that there's this metaphysical law that you can literally summon into your life what you want to become using these rituals and practices. And everyone was like, what are you talking about? You're talking absolute nonsense. And all of those people, I love them to pieces, but they haven't got very far in their lives. They haven't achieved much. They haven't done much, right? And I was literally pointing out to them, look at the people that are saying that it works, And you've got to be very careful in your life who you take advice from, Some people will try and rubbish or criticize or make something out to not be what it is, because I believe they're either scared of it or worried about the potential. But then if you go and tell that same piece of information to somebody doing better than you, or you can clearly see that someone like Will Smith or Oprah Winfrey, who is actually a billionaire now, who's talking about it and it's working for them, that's what backs up for me that this stuff is not BS. Because if successful people are talking about it, and one of my favorite quotes is success leaves clues. Yeah, so if they're doing it and the people that you love and your family and everybody else aren't backing it, but they're not where you want to be, then make sure you don't listen to them. Make sure you listen to the people that are achieving and are where you want to be in your life.
Yeah, I love that, JV, without a doubt.